This one will be used for the engine room lights, but that'll come a little later. So pretty well organized, although there's some dead space in here. Not bad. Right. Oh, right. Wait, what? There's a smaller connector here. Is it the same size? Yeah, it's the same size. Okay. Huh. There's the ditch light circuits and the regulator. In here is the strobe light circuits and the circuit regulator, and then there's a circuit somewhere else. There it is. There's a circuit for the strobe lights. That's it. Pretty simple. The red one, too. Slice that bad boy open. Wrong one. Yes, I know I'm blocking the camera, but you're literally just slicing the heat shrink open. This one goes to the blue one. I sliced the wrong one, but that's okay. That one will come a little later. All you're literally doing is just slicing the heat shrink off so that it's easier to come off. The blue and the red to start. Here's where you can cut your finger. Yay!
And that's for the ditch lights, or the...
That's the backup lights.
Backup lights, okay.
We have to swap this one to the green and red one, because the blue and the blue and the red one is the backup light. That's not correct, which is not correct for this. I need a tiny flathead, very tiny, to peel this guy apart. If you don't have this, you might be able to peel it apart with the X-Acto. I have yet to get my soldering iron out, but we'll get that in a minute. Oh, come on. This heat shrink sucks. I hope they didn't twist these together. They did freaking twist these together. China, why? Okay, how? How do they expect me to get this off? It's coming off. I think it's slightly too short, but I can trim it a little bit. Make sure you connect them back how they're supposed to, ignoring the receptacle that you just took off. I don't think that's gonna fit. I need a bigger one. And I need solder. My workspace is very disorganized. Always. It's just easier that way. Please. We also got to take the heat shrink off of that green one too. just making it so that they hold together. Rookie mistake to avoid, put the heat shrink on first. Where does my solder keep running away to? Finally, oh, I have to solder them to put the heat shrink on. There it is. Fine. Waste. That's okay. So I don't know if you saw the red to red. This blue one goes to this green and black. The blue is ground in this case. And it fell off. Basic old chassis wiring done. Now you get your jack gun. These ones are not twisted together. Interesting. Oh, they are a little twisted together. Come on. Come on, Bessie. Let's go. We have to go. They don't want to come apart as easily. So I will have to... There it is. See, this is why it's important to organize your wiring, guys. Always organize your wiring, because this you'll otherwise get this. And this is not fun to deal with. I'm gonna have to snip that, unfortunately. This guy out. Okay, that's separated. Now we get the blue one off. Keep bumping into that receptacle. Either nicely. Don't want to burn myself. Those. So you remove that guy, and then we'll put it on the green and the red one a little later. But for now, I'm going to put this guy back together with some. Hopefully now it goes together. Probably won't, because I need to trim it a little bit. Good. A little more solder. Slide the heat shrink over. I think it's still slightly too short. That's about right. Now we take this guy and this guy, put them back together. Wait. You into the blue one. You into the blue one. Now you heat shrink it. They shrink? Yep. I think I'm missing one. Nope, I got them all. Make sure they're nice and heat shrunk.
So here's the new wiring.
So the blue wire is now hooked up to the green one. Green wire, that's for the headlights. As you can see, there's 3 wires coming out of there. Used to be connected to blue, but now that's swapped. There's the red one that's connected to red. There's where it used to be. And now you have 2 pigtails for your ditch lights and your strobe lights and interior light.
Perfect.
One other thing to do as well is you want to depin this, because if you don't have this receptacle, you're going to have to use one of your own. So you're going to have to depin it. And you may need to squeeze these guys in to make them connect properly. So you won't need this receptacle again if you're going to be using your own. So you basically just depin it like that, pull it up, pull it out, take your tweezers and squeeze this guy in a little bit to make proper connection with your new receptacle, which this is a 1K ohm resistor, which will be needed for the room lights. Confirm that it makes a nice solid connection onto this guy. You should feel some resistance, which that's not quite enough. So I need to tighten it a little more. Should be good. And this is reversible. If you ever go back to the old one, you can just spread the receptacle a little bit with with the flathead screwdriver, and that will reverse it back. Why is it not tight enough? Oh, because I have it backwards. This is the side that connects. Oh yeah, that's tight. So now you take your new receptacle. I don't know what size these are, but try something that works, and then it should just slide right in. Might have a tiny bit exposed, and it might be a bit difficult to get it in, but just take a flathead and push it home. It's a little difficult. Also, I did not check my polarity. Ha! I got it right the first time. Cool. But you want to push it until it clicks into place, because you don't want this falling out. I think that's pushed in all the way, maybe not. Okay, that's in all the way. If you pull on it lightly and it doesn't come out, then you did it right. Pull this guy out carefully, although this one seems to be stuck on something. Come on. Are you serious? Come on. Come on up, Bessie. Come out and play. I think. There we go. Power out. So again, same thing. Squeeze it in. Squeeze it tighter. There you go. Confirm that it goes on your pin nicely. It makes a strong connection. Because if it doesn't, these will not work, and you'll have to kind of tap your shell to get it to work. Go. This one went in a lot easier. And this will be the receptacle that plugs into that. You just simply plug it in, I'm using a 3-wire one simply because it'll make it easier to identify that this goes to the engine room lights on in the forward direction, wherever Tim's remote is. At least this is just temporary testing. In reverse, they turn off, but that'll be fixed in a moment. There you go. This confirms your work. So now you slide this guy over. Expand this one a little bit. If you have these reverse action tweezers, this should help you expand your heat shrink a little tiny bit. You don't want to go too crazy because you will rip it if you go too much. But if you're having trouble getting it over, definitely use this method. Of course, I'm still having trouble getting it over, so I need it bigger. And I can't get it off because it turned into one of those trap toys. One of those trap toys that you put your fingers into. Bessie. There we go. I don't think you have to completely cover this resistor, but ideally do it the same that third rail did. It'll just look better that way. That's about as much as I can get it on. Yeah, that'll be fine. We can work with that. Now we hook up the 2 black wires together, which if you cut them on yours, you will need to do a little extra stripping. In this case, this one needs to be stripped. Go. I would do all of this stuff completely away from the shell, but unfortunately I can't because all of this is hot glued in from the factory, which is fun. Went in somewhere I wasn't supposed to. Avoid leaving random pieces of solder inside your engine because that'll likely cause a short down the line, which you don't want. Take some more heat shrink. You can put it on this end because there's nothing here in this case. And now solder it together. Should be good. Heat shrink. Make sure everything's in there. Go. Now, go to town with your heat gun. Keep it away from the shell. Normally I'd completely cover that resistor, but it's just a little tiny bit sticking out, so it's okay. So that's pretty much all the wiring done. Optionally, you can remove the smoke unit and run the wires above the little bracket that it goes to. In fact, I will show that real quick right now. I like doing that because there's less of a chance of it getting burned on the bowl if you run your smoke. So it's just 4 screws that hold it together. Also makes the wiring a lot more neater as a result, and there's less of a chance of this wiring getting sucked into, let's say, the flywheel or the motor, for example. Seeing as I'm taking it out, I may as well show it. Here is their smoking it. Pretty simple. Heating element, fan on the bottom. I think that's a relay. A couple other pieces. They routed the wiring pretty nice. Anyway, so what you're gonna do is place the wiring as such. I know my hands are blocking the view, but place the wiring in there, make it nice and taut. Then place your smoking it back, making sure not to pinch any of the wiring. So because of how taut these wires are, with the way that third rail did it, where the engine room lights and the interior lights are wired together, you're gonna have to take the cab apart to get the LED part out. The screwdriver's too big. Let me get mine. So essentially, these 4 screws come out. Handle it very carefully. Then you can use one of your magnetic screwdrivers to pick it up. Be careful not to strip the heads of the screws, or you're never going to get the screw out. Oh, this one's magnetic too, okay. So this guy comes apart like this. There's 2 little clips here. You just carefully press it apart with your fingernails. Ideally get this ditch light harness out of the way. This guy comes out. Here are the figures. Set them off to the side, and then you take 2 additional screws out here to slide the interior out. It may be stuck on with some hot glue, but it should come off. Make sure to set the screws into separate areas and remember where they go, because these are different screws. Possibly doesn't matter. The shorter ones go onto those sides, the longer ones go to the sandwich area. But this should hopefully not be too well hot glued on. And the reason why you want this off is because now you have better access to your heat shrink. And slice it. So you gain access to the solder areas. Again, this is the strobe light regulator. This right here is the board that controls the strobe light functions. If you see in there, the LEDs are hanging out up there. They're hot glued in place. The number board lights are up here too, in a weird position. So that's how you access them. This guy mostly off. You don't have to take it completely off because there is a 1 kilo ohm resistor there that you probably want covered up. You just want it off enough to where you can go and start soldering. So now from here, I'm using a fancier soldering iron than most people. Ball of solder wood somewhere. So here is the wire that goes to the cab light. You're going to leave this guy alone and you're going to solder it back onto this guy. Careful, because that lead to the resistor is kind of thin. Do I have some heat shrink I can use? get yourself some new heat shrink. We're just going to do the positive one right now because we already have it off. Positive wire to that resistor. You may need to bend it slightly to get an easier look like this guy. See, even someone with shaky hands like me can solder. Slip this guy over for protection. Always have protection. We will get to that guy in a bit. These two remaining red wires here are going to the engine room lights. We shall work on those a little later. We just move them out of the way for now because we don't need them. And now we get the black wire out of this guy. Out of this bundle. Careful, kids, this is how you cut yourself. If your engine does not have the strobe lights, this process will actually be easier because you don't have to contend with this guy. I think it's only the Mark 1 and one other, and the ALC 42s that don't have the strobe lights. So this will be easier for those ones. Stop falling. Gravity. Guys twisted together so much. What the? Oh, right. They stripped this guy. I forgot. What did I? What are you doing? Yeah, be careful with this one. They just simply stripped the wire to the interior light to make this connection. So be careful with that. I have just made a bit of a mess with this guy as a result, because I think all the insulation just melted itself together, kind of. Well, I made more of a mess than I originally thought. Crap. Well, I guess I'm slicing it. Guess I'm gonna have to slice it. I'll deal with this guy in a minute. Kind of butchering up the wiring a little bit, but whatever, I guess. Okay, you stay on this guy, stay on this guy. That guy will be good to solder to. I'm going to remove it from the engine so I don't accidentally burn something in there. Also, for reference, that's just the interior light. It's literally just a 3mm LED hot glued to the back of this board. Where's the thin one? There it is. Recording time or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the cab light wiring part done. It's a bit more sloppy than I wanted it to be because I had that problem, but Yeah. Now we heat shrink it, trying not to melt anything on the shell. So point your heat gun away from the shell so you don't risk melting anything. That's the interior light and strobe light portion done. All you got to do is put it back very carefully. Try not to scratch too much in here. Be wary of the windows, you can scratch them. And be wary of any pegs that you might be getting stuck on. There you go. Just work with this guy. I'm kind of stuck. Go. Again, shorter ones go to the cab light, to the cab section. There we are. Put the screws to it. Don't go too crazy because you're just screwing in the plastic. For this guy, just take him, insert him such so that it fits, and then just pop it into place. Some will be a little easier to pop into place compared to others because those clips, but some will be easier, some will be harder. But just make sure you align these screw holes afterwards and put the screws to it. You may need to do one of these to get it to align correctly. Again, be careful not to strip it. So that's the cab section, cab lighting section done. This receptacle will go into that one that we just wired into the forward headlight functions. Let's move it out of the way. Now we work on the engine room lights. So bundle together the two red ones together. Like so. You're going to take one of your wiring harnesses with the 1K ohm resistor and the receptacle end, and you're going to attach the red one to the red one. Take some of your heat shrink. You're going to need a pretty long run in this case. Enough, I think. I've already tinned this wire, so I am good to go. Slide this guy over. Make sure you do this such so that you're well away from the shell and there's less chance of you melting something on accident. Keep dropping my solder. Bear in mind, the soldering job doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, so long as it makes a good connection. At the end of the day, no one is going to really judge your soldering, except if you post this on the internet, and then everyone will judge you on your soldering skills. Because, you know, it's the internet. Okay. Also, I just realized, did I heat shrink the wiring on these? So now that you've got all your wiring done and your interior lighting and so forth set up, now you just plug everything back in as it should be. The ditch lights can be plugged in wherever, but this main connector here goes up here. There is only one way it'll go in. If you have to force it in, you're doing it wrong. The ditch lights can be plugged into either one of those connectors, either the black and the black and the red one, or the blue and the red one. I'm going to do this. Strobe lights, hook it up to the other one, and then finally your engine room lights. Hook them up like so. That together. Before you fully assemble it together, let's also put the smoke unit in. This may be tucked down like this on some of the engines, so just be wary of that, but in this case this one's really easy to plug back in. Before we fully put the screws together, put it together with the screws, you're gonna want to test it, make doubly sure that everything is good before you fully close it up. I can't seem to make the connector fit in there. Dang, third row, who makes these connectors? Why are they so tight? Oh, that's why I won't go in. I'm backwards. Again, make sure you orient your connectors in correctly. Okay, hook up your rear lights. The antenna can go last simply because it plugs in right there somewhere. Sure that my orientation is correct. I think it's correct. It's not correct. Go. Yeah, that little connector sucks. Don't put this thing all the way together yet. Just tuck your wiring in nicely as best as you can. Enjoy putting this spaghetti away. You can just tuck it in like so. Make sure that these are all in the middle because there's the coupler screws right there that could short something out on there, so just be careful. When reinstalling this all together, you may need to spread the shell apart a little tiny bit, grab it by the truck bolsters a tiny bit, and then just carefully get this guy in, which this is successful. Tim's coupler lift bars for some reason are very bent, but that's okay. Now we flip it over, plug in the antenna wire back here. There's literally only one place that it will go. Right there. Tuck it away pretty nicely. Tuck this wiring away very nicely. Away so it's out of the way. And now we check to make sure that we wired everything up correctly and that it does not go up in smoke. I am pretty confident. So there you go. Strobe lights, ditch lights, headlight, interior light. If you go in reverse, you lose the headlight, interior light, ditch lights, and the strobes. The engine room lights stay on all the time. They're connected to track power. So if you turn the headlights off completely, you will still have the engine room lights on. But there you go. That is corrected. Show them again backwards.